Hey, hey, my beautiful souls. Welcome back to another week. Well, hopefully by now, as you're getting to know me, I hope that you know I see all of you the same way I see my own children as just incredible beings that are living in this playground with me, and it's so much easier to see other people's incredible beauty and depth and potential, and makes me so sad when they don't see it. So you might start to see that a lot of my episodes and themes are similar in that vein of celebrating you, seeing you, reminding you of who you really are. And that's really, yeah, what I find so powerful. I think I've shared this before in one of my conversations. Maybe it was here in this space or somewhere, but in all of these years of coaching, I really believe that everything comes down to this one common theme, and it's our relationship with ourself. And so often we have so much judgment of ourself, and we can't see the wholeness and the beauty that we are. And we allow for all of these things outside of us, people's opinion of us, our experiences, limit what we see about us, and we make them the same. That if I can't achieve something, or if someone doesn't think a certain way about me, then I am not good enough or worthy enough or lovable. And if I could only change my life and change these things around me, okay, then I can feel good about myself. And really, the whole foundation of soulSHINE, this program, my mission is to be an untethered source of love. And that love primarily is for ourselves. And when we love ourselves, then our relationship with ourselves radically changes, and it opens us up to having courage and having a lighthearted experience. It opens us up to healing, to evolution, and it changes what we see for other people, what we want for other people, to be less critical with them, to be more gracious with them, to have incredible relationships with the world that opens us up to creation instead of destruction, or to possibility instead of limit. And that's really how I believe that we are going to change, and we are going to change the world, by deeply loving ourselves and then extending that love out into our love for each other. So, gosh, that was a long entryway into what I want to talk about today, which is enoughness. And this enoughness is different than worthiness, but I think the two often get intertwined. And so I just want to focus on enoughness today. And I'm so inspired by a quote that I heard by Dr. Kathleen Young. She's a child and adolescent psychiatrist and a coach. And she says that enough is a decision, not an amount. And I think that's so simple and so profound. The idea that enough isn't something we're ever going to achieve. It's just something we get to decide. So let that sink in. Enough is a decision. It's actually not even a goal. It's not something we need to earn, chase after. It's not a destination that we're going to get to after checking off every box on our to-do list. It's just a choice that we get to make for ourselves right now in this moment. And I think that that idea ties so beautifully with this philosophy, this community of you guys, of my tribe here of soulSHINE, where we are learning to live in alignment with our most authentic, free self, and to love ourselves deeply and madly, to be in our personal power, to create value in this world, all from that place. And the reality is that every day we live in a world that constantly tells us that we're not enough. We're bombarded with messages that tell us that we need to do more, to be more, to have more. Or sometimes it's less, to like physically be less, to be more efficient, whatever it is. But it's endless. And we really get caught up in this illusion that we're constantly falling short because it's an amount, it's a destination. And we definitely compare ourselves to others, right? People who like seem to have their lives perfectly together. And we end up feeling like we're not enough in comparison. And I do this all the time too. And the truth is, I want you to remember that you are enough. And this is where I think it gets tangled sometimes with worthiness. Because when I say you are enough, I'm also saying you are worthy right now, today, without having to prove it to anybody, to anyone, including yourself. You are enough, AKA you are worthy. And that's where I want to start disentangling your enoughness is inherent, just like your worthiness is inherent. And there's nothing you can do or not do to take away your inherent worthiness. And so trying to chase after doing more, being more, getting certain things done so that you can feel enough is not productive. It leads to burnout. It leads to frustration, to anger, to feeling like a victim, to feeling powerless. So just sit in the truth of who you are. You are enough because you are worthy. And now from that place, separate out this issue of enough, which is an amount, which now we're deciding is not an amount, but a decision. So let me ask you it this way. If you are enough and you don't have to do anything else to be enough, to be intrinsically worthy, then you can just decide that all of these tasks and things are enough outside of you. So what if you've already done enough today? Yeah, that list was long and I didn't get everything done. That's the truth. And I actually had to redo half of it. This is like for real. This is my day yesterday. And the other half I'm judging because like it didn't meet my standards. It wasn't good enough. And I'm still like behind on my to-do list. All of this is really real. And there's a lot more to do today and tomorrow and the next day. And at some point, I just have to decide that it's enough, simply because I say it's enough. So maybe you're a parent. So I'm a parent and I made it home in time, just like for the end of the bedtime routine. And there's definitely been nights where I've only made it home to kiss my kids goodnight. And there's definitely been times where I didn't volunteer at their school and I didn't help them with their homework. And I didn't like get there in time to do something special with the family. And all of that has led to a lot of suffering and judgment and not enoughness because I wasn't a good enough mom and I didn't manage my time well enough and I wasn't efficient enough. But if I look at it as a decision, I look at it that I, Satie, am enough without needing to do all of these things, to complete my task, to volunteer at the school, to kiss the kids goodnight. I am intrinsically enough, worthy. Then all of these other things, I also get to decide if they're enough. Who gets to decide if I'm a good enough mom? I can decide. I can make that decision. It doesn't have to be if my kids approve or not, or other people in my life approve or not. So now that goodnight kiss, that's enough because I decided it's enough. Or maybe like you're pushing at work for promotion and it feels out of reach and you don't think you have all the qualifications, all the like productivity of these other candidates. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like a stretch. You're not like enough for that promotion. But what if instead of an amount that you're comparing it, what if you just decided that you are enough for that promotion because I'm deciding that I'm enough for the promotion? And I'm not saying that we should just make all these decisions that like, oh, I've worked enough today. I'm just going to go like neglect these things I have to do or like not show up fully. You can if you want. As long as it's intentional, it's your life. But so much more often than not, I see that it's a cycle of this chase of scarcity, that I didn't do enough at work. And so I'm overcompensating. And now, shoot, I've like overflowed into my kids' time. And now I like missed half of our time together. And now that's not enough. And it becomes this like painful cycle where I'm constantly behind. I'm constantly trying to feel better about myself, constantly trying to achieve more and more and more of an amount. And it ends up depleting me. It ends up making me so that when I do show up in whatever time I have, I'm overwhelmed or frustrated or angry because I'm judging it to be not enough. And then I further totally miss the quality and the presence of it, or I miss appreciating what actually is because I'm only looking at what isn't. And that is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about making it a decision to see what is enough about it and to live in that and let that be powerful. Let that fuel you to open you up to say, like, yeah, I didn't get half my shit done today. And you know what? I'm going to come back tomorrow, and instead of feeling like it wasn't enough, I'm going to decide that it was, and that I worked hard and I worked even when I was confused and I showed up with my full heart. And that is enough. Not the end product, not that I got 10 out of 10 tasks completed, but the 5 that I did get completed, I'm going to decide that it's not the amount. I'm going to decide that it was enough because of how I showed up, because that's who I want to be, because it was in alignment with who I am and the experience that I want to have in this world. And in that way, regaining that agency, that choice of deciding what's enough can be empowering, can be freeing, can nurture you to show up as your best version. And Dr. Kara Pepper, who's a physician and also a coach, she also looks at this decision of enoughness in another way. What if you've just had like enough of a job or a relationship or a situation that's no longer serving you? And so that decision to say, this is enough, can be one of the most powerful and freeing choices that you decide to make. You don't have to earn your right to experience joy or pleasure. You don't have to accomplish more, do more, or be more to deserve it. You are enough as you are in this moment. And so everything else of enoughness can just get to be a decision. Enough is a decision we get to make for ourselves, not dictated by society, by our partner, by our boss, or by our own self-doubts. Just a simple decision. We all have areas in our life where we feel like we're not measuring up. And so I invite you to reflect on these 2 questions today. Where are you already more than enough? And what in your life have you had enough of? These questions can be painful and hard sometimes because they require us to be honest about maybe things that we're chasing or painful beliefs that we have about ourselves or others, or have difficult, conversations or reflections. But you don't even have to tell anybody the answers to these questions. Just see it for yourself. That's it. That's what we're talking about, is supporting yourself, self-sourcing. So you can do all of this work with so much love to yourself, because that is the heart of this idea of enoughness, is recognizing your inherent worth, your authenticity, your personal power, your self-love. Deciding that you're enough doesn't mean that you're settling. It doesn't mean that you're giving up. It doesn't mean that you're okay with like substandard work. It doesn't mean that you're lowering your standards. It doesn't mean that you're walking away from growth or anything else. All it means is you're choosing to recognize the fullness of who you are and the fullness of what you have done. It means honoring what you've already done, respecting the boundaries that you need to set. It is a decision that comes from standing in your personal power and in your authenticity. Enough is a choice. about seeing your life for what it is instead of constantly what it isn't. It's acknowledging your own worth and validating it for yourself, not waiting for somebody else to validate it. And then when you can do that, you can embrace the truth that you've always been enough, that you've done enough, and that you will always be enough. You don't have to wait for permission, for validation, or the perfect moment. You have the power right now to decide that you, with all of your limitations, your messiness, your imperfections, your uncompleted to-do list, that you're enough, that you are enough right now, just as you are. And that's the most beautiful, freeing decision you can make for yourself today. And then everything else from there, all those to-do lists, expectations, whatever, they already come from a place of fullness. They come from a place of abundance and creation in a way that has no limits, because you know you have no limits on your enoughness. Okay, so for our ending tradition, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that you can take home for yourself for your own self-coaching. And I'm just going to recycle the ones that we used earlier. Where are you already more than enough in your life and the roles that you play? And what in your life have you had enough of? Sending you all love, wishing you all play, possibility, and peace. Wishing you to feel so supported in this space. And I'm so, so honored to be a part of your soul tribe. Sending you love, and I'll see you next week.